There it is. It's 9. Yeah, that's 9. Oh boy. Good morning. Let's see who is in here. There we go. 3 and done. Hi. Whew. How are you? So, I know my title is Cliffhanger, but YouTube is very sensitive. You have to be careful the way you title things. So, yeah. But somebody asked me to, if I was going to talk about my thoughts on Parkland. And, I had to not watch any other videos or anything on it other than the news source. And we all know that's not very credible, but yeah. And I know a lot of people, there's a lot to be said about it, because it happened at a school. And the first thing many homeschoolers say, well, I'm so glad I homeschool. So we don't have to worry about that. Well, that may be, I find that interesting. I find it very interesting because that's just, it's kind of a blanket to say that, because that has happened anywhere. And yeah, unfortunately, this is not the first school shooting. It's not going to be the last. And it's not even the worst. Many people forgot all about Columbine. And that wasn't the first incident. That one was very, very devastating. But in any case, it didn't stop people from enrolling their children in public school. Many people did not take their children out. So it's not to say, I homeschool for that reason. Yeah, that's one reason. One thing you don't have to look out for is having the children out of your presence. But, your children go outside, you go outside. That could happen anywhere. I think it's more or less the, devastation knowing that you send your child to a place that you trust is okay. But we all know school is corrupt all the way around. It's just not safe, period. So, did people send their children to school today? Yes, they did. Did people bring their children home and say, I'm just going to homeschool them? No, they sent them to school. What my stance on this thing is, I was most interested in this whole situation. This man that you all have elected, I was watching him. Okay, I don't really do politics or anything, but I was watching this dude. I don't follow stuff like that because it doesn't pertain to me. But the one thing I noticed, y'all see his tie? Look at his tie. Okay, there have been 4 shootings since he's been in office. Look at his tie that he's wearing. That's what stuck out to me. This dude come on here like this. I'm sorry, no child, no student, no teacher should ever go through XYZ. I'm looking at his tie, listening to the words coming out of his mouth. He has on a blue tie. He's on the po-po side, y'all. He don't care what happened. He does not care what happened. A blue tie. Okay? Look it up. Go back for all those shootings and see what color his tie is. That right there told me he could care less. He didn't say nothing about gun control. Arm them all. Let them kill themselves. I don't have to deal with them. That's what he was saying. That's sad. It's truly sad. I feel for those families. You know, the whole America, period. But watch him in these events. Watch his tie color. And if you don't believe me about that, you can go look that up. Those ties symbolize a lot. They tell you a lot. So when something goes down, State of the Union, whatever, I'm looking at that tie color because that tells me where he stands. It doesn't matter what he's saying, but, you know, it just adds to it once you really look at it. If it was red, he would have came in love. Okay? He had to wear the color of the po-po. They're going to shoot to kill. So he's all for the guns, y'all. He's all for them. There's no stopping. This country is gone in a handbag because it's just, you know, they don't care. He's not going to make it any better. You know, it's not, they say the child shouldn't have had access. You know, there's a whole lot going around that too. You know, he shouldn't have had access, but this is something that has happened long ago. You can go back to the former president. Same deal. Just watch it, okay? I'm not saying nothing bad, but watch it. Two different people, 2 different demeanors. It's really nothing that can be done. Mama 4 said, well, I never thought about the color when you deliver. Yeah. Go look it up. For real. Go look it up. There's a long history about this. Some people don't know about that. That's why, you know, I just kind of keep quiet about stuff because, you know, people just don't. Yeah. You watch the color that the first ladies wear. Okay? When Obama came in, he only wore red and blue ties in the beginning. Go look that up. Because I work on the other side of the law, right alongside with the police, now I have a different understanding. I'm not saying it's right what happened, but law officers and door lock-ins and see a lot in literary have to build a thick skin. Yeah. To be able to do the job. A lot of them do develop PTSD because of all the things they say. Yeah. Yep. 4. You are right. You know, it's code. All these people, it's code. If you don't know code, you just, you know, average person watching and hearing what they say. You know, but it's code. All this stuff is coded. So people have to really wake up. They have to really pay attention to what's going on. Not just accept what they see. Sorry for the typos. I'm using speech to text while I do something, listen to you. Okay. Just a few days ago, I had to uncover a guy that may have been buried in the snow over 6 days. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that's trauma. I don't know how you do it, but that is trauma. So, wow. But they mask the stuff with all kinds of other information and all kinds of other things. And we never get the whole whatever. You know, he's just worried about building this wall and, what's next. You guys know the first thing he did was Section 8. Got Ben Carson in, and that was the scheme to dissect Section 8, so people are slowly going homeless. Children, now it's the food stamps, and that's a sad thing because, we just had this hurricanes in state of Texas. A lot of people said, they're praying for Texas, but, like I told you guys, we appreciate that, but it affected the whole country. So many people went on assistance that way. And what happened was they couldn't even determine the need. They just start giving it to anybody. They have emergency, what they call emergency, and they gave it to anybody because they could not determine. People didn't even have documents or anything to prove. They didn't have anywhere to live. So with that amount, now people are afraid because they're saying they're going to cut it off and they're going to issue food boxes. I don't know if you guys heard about that. This state is not going to stand for that. This state, if you guys know, it was designed to, stand alone. It was a country on its own. This state is not going to stand for that. There's not going to be, we had rations and all of that stuff. But this New World Order thing is real. When I talk to you guys about Walmarts, they are setting them Walmarts up for those food lines, okay? That's why the pharmacies are still open. Medicine and all of that. You'll be lined up at Walmart trying to get that stuff. That's what he's doing, okay? But yeah, that's not going to work. Some people, everybody is promoting, the healthy eating. That is going to, the people that don't really are looking at it surface wise and not really thinking, they're panicking. Learning as we grow. Yes, I heard about those harvest boxes. Yeah, they're panicking because, they're saying, I can't do this now. The thing is two ways, okay? Well, actually more than that, but there are, because food is so poison these days, there are people that cannot eat certain things. They're restricted to diets and things like that. Now, of course, they're going to put these white label, it's going to be a government operation, okay? Say they get these boxes going. White label food, There are people that cannot consume that. So there's going to be pushback. It may pass. I don't know. It may pass. It's on the table. So what happens? The people are going to be fighting and fighting and fighting. I don't want that. I can't eat that. It's not healthy. They know it's not healthy. They're trying to kill us off. Okay? So the next round is, well, I got my garden. I'm going to eat out of my garden. Chemtrails. Your garden that's supposed to be wholesome and pure that you're managing, don't forget you go to sleep at night, okay? And even in the daytime, the chemtrails have already contaminated your garden. So it's not as pure as you think it is, okay? So these, these boxes are going to contain things just designed to hurt people anyway. I don't think it's, it's not going to be something that's just automatic, immediately happen. But people need to wake up. There are things that can be done. Community gardens. There are places that you can go in the city when you see lots empty lots. The city will let you take those lots and use them. Set up community gardens. That's what needs to happen. That should be the first, instead of panicking and saying that there's nothing we can do. There's a lot we can do. You just have to put some work into it. Mama 4 says they give food boxes here after the water crisis. Yeah. Sad. We are not making of government work for us. They are working for us. So yeah, they can, they can propose these things and people can sit back and panic about it and see while we're panicking, they'd have something else going, so we're distracted because we're too busy panicking instead of trying to act on it. That's how these things just continue to happen. You let the country go instead of trying to get up and help. But watch them. Just watch events as they happen. We are in February, March. We may get by with something not happening in March. What? Good morning. But there are going to be things that continue to happen throughout the year. There's going to be more devastation. It's just going to be compiled. You have to be, you just have to wake up. This child, what I want to say about this child. Mama 4, yeah, I read about the garden and the document called Food. This child had some issues, and for those of you that say, oh, well, not my child, okay. The child was adopted, he lost the adoptive mother a few months ago. His adoptive father was already deceased, and he was living with friends. Now, what I want to say to you all that I've already been saying, this child has been on the internet. Did I tell you guys about letting your kids loose on the internet? My child sit right there on the internet. My teenager. If I have to get up and go to the bathroom, you go in there until I come back. I have to see what that child is doing on the internet. Okay, they have pulled up, they had pulled up the child Instagram account when he was asking for information on the assault rifle. Okay, that's on Instagram, clear as day. 2, they have gone back and found a YouTube comment that he made under his name. They had to investigate it. That said something about he's going to be a professional school shooter. You don't know what your kid's doing on the internet. You have no idea what they're doing. Cut off the communication. Cut off the exposure. Are you watching their friends' accounts? Are you watching who they communicate with? Is that bad? You have to watch that stuff. No, because you're too busy in your own phone. Now, he had no, his parents were not around. I cannot, really, blame that. But yeah, he was, he was troubled already. That he was already labeled. But he wasn't being monitored. Those of you that have control and can monitor your children, you really have no excuse. You should be afraid to let your child on there because of the information that they can get a hold to and not even know how to process it. Gun control is the only problem. People who ignored the warning should be punished. There's never going to be any gun control. The country was built on guns. It's not, because guns are, it's just, it's a market. The country was built corrupt. Okay. There's not going to be any kind of control. The right to bear arms, that was written in the Constitution. And so, yeah. The school was where the local police were aware. The FBI. Yeah, yeah. And to the child just walk up in there and mingle in with everybody else. And then to be able to leave, escape, and go over to McDonald's and sit down and chill, that's not safe at all. He was at large for a while. And the kids, that they did talk to knew that he was dangerous, and nobody did anything. Nobody took any more measures, because they felt that he wasn't a threat other than that he needs to be expelled from school. He needs to be sent to an alternative school. I don't know. It's like, they spend more time doing other things than putting work into where it should be. Colonists brought guns. Yeah. So, the bad stuff, the guns, the narcotics coming from across the border, they resell that mess. They put it right back out here on our streets. They're not trying to get rid of that. That wall is not going to stop anything. They need that money to make this country run. But they make people feel as if we put the wall up, we won't have the narcotics and all that. That mess been floated in. It's the helicopter, airplanes. They're not getting ready to get rid of that stuff. America needs the money. Sure, Nicole, it's really sad. You're no longer safe at school. Yeah, you're no longer safe anywhere. It just, everybody is a moving target. It's a moving target. Now, sure enough, this country has the capability to do everything it needs to do to protect itself, protect the people, and all of that. The technologies and all of that they have, satellites, and, they can protect what they want to protect. Okay? When stuff happening, I don't see how this happened. Why? Because they want it to happen. The country is overpopulated. They want it to happen. So, man, I say all the time, people move over here and you say, well, why you move over here from out your country? I would stay in my country if I was you. I'm trying my best to get up out of here because, man, wow, it's just, you can't even live in peace, and I know other things happen other places, but goodness, it's too many freedoms and they're not really protecting anybody. I used to get nervous in school sometimes. Nowadays, I can't even imagine. Yeah. And what was really sad, one of those stories that I read, the mother had a 17-year-old boy. The boy was wheelchair bound and he was mute. And the boy gets on the bus like 10 minutes before everybody. And in her head, she was so shook that 10 minutes made a big difference. If that child was not on that bus, he would have been a sitting target. Okay? All those type of kids. That is truly sad. He couldn't run. He couldn't get under the desk. He couldn't do anything. And she was just so grateful that, this child was able to get on that bus. But I feel for a situation like that. I feel for all of them. But that is truly sad. It was interesting. They said that somebody recognized the child when he came in the door and that they got on the radio and all kinds of stuff. But yeah. This kind of take me back to the lean on me situation when Joe Clark chained the doors. Do we really have to go to that kind of thing? The school should be school, not prison. They started after Columbine, started putting the metal detectors in the schools and stuff like that. Some of them didn't, but you know, the locker thing disappeared, the backpacks. But again, after a while, people let their guard down. This topic, Mama Four said this topic is opening my eyes, but I have to exit the room. Well, you have a great day and thank you for joining. So, yeah, you have to, is it worth it? I understand homeschool parents have an advantage for leaving their child at home, but again, this could happen anywhere. I don't want anybody to think, well, I'm better because, I do that. Stuff happens at home. So, Sharon Nicole says, see you later, Mama Four. Whew. So, yeah, it's just, it's tragic, but like I said, when you see this guy come on here, look at his tie. If you want to pay attention to what he's saying, that's fine, but look at his tie. That'll let you know if he's coming right or not. And, even with the red tie, yeah, he make you wonder. Learning as we grow, people busting houses every day. Could happen anywhere. Yeah, it could. Talk about homeschoolers being, you want to keep them at home to keep them safe. There are homeschoolers are being targeted these days. Okay, they're being targeted. You cannot escape that. Truant officers are looking for homeschoolers. You out in the grocery store with your kids. Oh, they're homeschooled. They have seemingly innocent people talking to your children. Oh, are you sick today? Oh, you better, oh no, we're homeschooled. They're watching you, okay? They're watching you. They're following you home. They're watching you, okay? And they have truant officers coming right up to people's doors. Sharon Nicole says, every time I hear about a shooting, I think about Lean on Me, where he chained the doors and everybody called him crazy. I didn't think he was crazy. I thought he was a brilliant idea. Yeah, chain the doors. Because, there's no way unless, that child could, very well be in there and you chain the child in the door, but still. There are measures that can be taken. If the metal detectors are not working, what next? If the law says they need to go to school, then guess what? The law needs to protect them, and they're not protecting them. This could have been an adult that did the shooting. It's just sad. A couple of teachers were shot as well. They were physically protecting the students. I think they said out of the kids, only one of them was old enough to vote. So that is just, it's sad. It is truly sad. They have interviewed over 2,000 people and students just trying to get an idea of why he did it. But in social media, there are answers. There are plenty of answers. Plenty. These kids tell all. Grown-ups tell all on social media. So I said, you have to be careful about what you say and what you type. That stuff will catch up with you. You think it's innocent. You're just commenting to somebody or you're just saying something. That stuff will catch up to you. There are signs in those comments. I heard about people who want to arm teachers. Yes, there are teachers that are armed in certain schools. I just don't like the idea of more guns personally. Yeah. These kids are not taught. There's no gun safety. There's no nothing. It's just so easy to get your hands on them. Didn't they say the thing was legal? Yeah, it was legal. He bought the thing legally. Now the boy was they said he was 19 or 20. But yeah, it was legal. It was a legal purchase. Let's see, learning as we grow says, but I was thinking not everyone is equipped mentally to just shoot someone, and also not all teachers are sane enough to have a gun. Yeah, they're not. They're not. They have to go through special, trainings and things like that. And it shouldn't even come to that. Like the teacher said, they had been prepped. They go through trainings and they knew the drill. They knew what to do. Whoever alerted everybody else that they identified that kid, they recognized that kid. They were very smart. They just had no idea, but they did realize that he's here. He got kicked out of the school. He was a student, but he got kicked out. So that was a good thing. To start radioing. But yeah, once they heard that first shot, they knew, okay, this is a code red. So they kind of executed everything well, and instructing the kids to put the phones down and all of that. But some of the kids were like, they felt that, this was it, and they wanted to show something. But yeah, that's, I can't even fathom. We no longer have parents because the parents are scared out of their mind to tell a child, no mother went through my backpack and all my friends. Exactly. These parents have no idea. These kids are raising themselves. They put too much trust. Like I say, it's to let them have this exposure to the internet. All these accounts. Somebody years ago was a tiff about a child, a teenager. How can they have the parental controls on the email account? And somebody said, well, this day and age, you need to just let them have this and let them learn because it's technology. No, that parent was right. And the parent that was the naysayer had younger children, But I was saying that child is right. I mean, that parent is right. That parent has a right to know what that child is doing. I don't care if it is an email. You need to be in the know of what your child is doing on that internet. And see, that's what's happening here on this YouTube. There's so many people that are posing as children, okay, on these children's channels that these parents have created. Or there's children that have created their own channel. And there's predators in this thing, and they're trying to stop this. That's why all this changes and stuff like that, because they feel that there's some responsibility on their part, to help alleviate this. It's chaos. There's a lot of bad things happening on this, just YouTube alone. I feel like it would be building another target animal, like some police officers. Instead of police brutality, it would be teacher brutality. Yeah. 3 and done. If this was last year, I would have been flagged because he was categorized as mentally ill. And one of the first things Trump got rid of was the bill that Obama put in place that people got registered. Yeah. Yep, it's the mentally ill. They're not, just take the troops, they come back, they're PTSD, all of that. They don't care about them. All the veterans that had to get out, due to PTSD, they don't care about them. You signed up for this, and thank you, and that's it. I want all my kids' passwords when they get that age. My kids my kids don't have a password. I log it in. They're using my account. I was looking up something on YouTube and I found a 12-year-old girl underwear. The only thing that was in my mind was where her parents. Yeah, yeah. And the parents are the first ones that say, "Oh, not my kids." You don't know what your kids are doing unless you're sitting right here watching them. Same thing with these tablets and iPads and all of that. You think that stuff is innocent. It is not innocent. You are exposing your child to all kinds of, chaos. It's feeding them. Just, the kids having a fit. If you take it away, they have a fit. Okay. That's just a precursor. What's going to happen when they become teenagers? Kids are very smart. They go use their friends' devices and things like that. So unless you're with that child 24/7 and looking them in the face, you can't say your child is not, I can't put anything past my kids. I can only see what I can see. But when I can see them, you better believe I'm watching. So, yep, these kids are doing all kinds of, whatever on here. It's being glorified, and, some of the parents are shocked. Like, I didn't know. Like, how could you not know? You have that much trust. It is information superhighway. Yeah, we can find a lot of information and things like that, but there's a lot of bad information, and if it gets into the wrong hands and they don't know what to do with it. And see, it never comes out until the end when they have to go through the people's devices. They go through the perpetrator devices and say, well, yeah, they were looking up this and they were looking up that, but that's after the fact. Who's checking? Now, see, the thing is, they are monitoring the activity. So the government does know who's looking up this and that, who's planning and plotting. Whether they say they don't know, they do know. Okay? Your devices are being monitored. Every text, that's why they can, when it's time for an investigation, they can pull up phone records and text records and all of that. Okay? It's not private. Everywhere, we're not typing into a phone or into a device. That stuff is being transpired through a company. There are people that are actually reading your things. That's why you teach kids, don't send nude pictures. There are people actually looking at those nude pictures before they actually get to the person you're sending it to. You see, kids don't understand all of that. You have to explain, the safety, the internet safety. Some parents don't even know. Yeah, they don't. That's why they say in any and everything. People on here type these comments. Do you know that you can see? You can find out who is actually typing, whether they're using an alias or people. We can tell exactly who you are. We can tell the device that you're using to view our videos. Some people don't even know that. So, good morning, love for all. So, yeah. It's just, like I said, it's very sad. It's very unfortunate that things like this happen. Devastating. Devastating. But this will not be the last event at all. The most craziest thing to me is that these abbreviations, the parents have no clue what they mean. Yeah, just like, yeah, the slang and code. It's code. It's code. And see, remember I just told you the government, it's all coded. It's code. It's code. They tell it's, you the average person would not know that, but again, don't take my word for it. Look at this dude tie. Go back and look at all the other events. Look at his tie. And then go look up the meaning of the tie color. And it's not just the president. It's all officials. You watch what they wear. Yeah, there may be some other colors, and you'll find that out too. But 9 times out of 10, you watch that. You watch the first ladies, what color they're wearing for certain events. That's it's symbolic. The emojis, yeah, them emojis are a mess. People forgetting how to spell words, so they just type an emoji. Yeah, and then they the meaning behind the emoji. People think that mess is cute, but yeah, it's not all that cute. It's like, I remember one of my kids sent me a text and I sent the emoji. She was like, Mom, really? I am not in elementary. You couldn't even answer my sentence or my question. So, and I was like, I think I was eating or something. I don't know. And I told her, I said I was doing something at the time. I just couldn't. But she was like, really? So, yeah. I get checked on it too. But she knew I normally didn't do that. So yeah, she just straight called me out on that. I said, all right, at least you know something. She said, talk to me in real sentences. They got a whole movie dedicated to these things. Yeah. Yep, they sure do. A lot of this stuff happening. Like this the hurricane. This stuff is movies, from the turn of the millennium. Okay, and people think this stuff is just a movie, and then it comes to pass. This stuff not movie. They know these things are man-made occurrences. Okay, they give the warnings. People don't pay attention. Puerto Rico, they give warnings. People don't care. They just think it just happened. And oh, it's sad. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that the government is pulling the wool over people's eyes right in front of their face. Okay, they make you believe. You watch TV, they make you believe whatever, and because it's legal. And then I like emojis. When somebody send me an emoji, I don't even answer back because I have no clue what it says. It can be disrespectful. Yeah, I don't deal with emojis. Maybe because I'm a little younger. 3 and done says. Maria Navarez. They are telling us what they are trying to create to get our energy to make it happen. Yeah. A few years back, I talked about all of the shootings that we had in the summer. When Obama's last year, the election year, all of those shootings, those were false flags. Okay, what happened to all those people? Guys, pay attention to that. We never heard anything else about Alton Sterling's family. What happened? Castile. What happened to what was that girl's name? What happened to her? I can't think of her name. All over Facebook. You follow up. The cop was basically got off, but the big deal, it was a mess. It was a mess from the start. I felt bad, but it was staged, and you could see that the mess was staged. But they had everybody on edge Um, watching that stuff. Who was the other girl? Uh, I cannot call her name. Was shot, barricaded in the house with the little boy, shot over being sovereign. Okay, that was to cover up. They want us to watch that mess and not worry about what they have, in store as far as the election. And people fall for that stuff. Okay, they took those families, paid those families. Those families are underground. Okay, those people that were supposedly shot are not dead. Okay, they're not dead. Mm, Lavish. That was that girl. Diamond Lavish. Whatever. Yeah. With that baby in the car. Yeah, I feel bad. That just whatever. But that cop that did that shooting was the same cop in the Sterling shooting. It was the exact same cop. The words, as soon as it happened, it was the same thing, and people caught up with that and they matched that voice. He said the exact same thing. It was just totally scripted. So, you have to watch out. They got actors out there and all kind of stuff that make us believe whatever. The ones who control media news are the same ones who run. Yeah, yeah. Malcolm X. Malcolm X knew a lot. Malcolm X said the government is the one doing all this stuff. At the TV. He warned us a long time ago. Where is he now? Because he knew too much. My friend Dick Gregory. Oh my gosh. I'm shook. Dick Gregory had all the money in the world. The brother was smart. He was very smart. And he was hipping us up to a lot of stuff. A lot of people say he's crazy, he's foul-mouthed, he's this and that. He did all kinds of studies that just people wouldn't even think of because he had the money to do it. What upsets me, what upsets and makes me mad is how people know that their friends have made dangerous threats and don't report it. Yeah, people they don't care. Hi, Pepper and Pine. Hi, Hannah. Girl, you are just, we have to get together, really. I've been saying this for a long time. You are just so funny. Seriously. Man, I love you. I just have to tell you that. It's like we're opposites, but we're the same, and I just have to give it to you. I know probably sometimes you think I'm extreme and just, ignore me. Y'all have to ignore me. But like I say, I talk about all kinds of things and it's not really done to demean anybody or anything like that. But, some stuff, yeah, some stuff. Like you say, some stuff does not need to be, it doesn't need to be discussed and stuff like that. But it makes for interesting discussion because I know people actually do want to discuss things. They do want to talk about it. Because if not, y'all wouldn't be here, I try to, a key part, I don't make mention of people's names and things like that. It's just situations that I see. So, yeah, when somebody asked me to talk about this and what I thought, yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Everybody has an opinion. You might not agree, I'll tell you. Somebody left a comment on the first chat yesterday about what I was saying about curriculum in the manuals, and I said that you need a teacher manual to make the thing work. And she said, I'm just shocked to hear you say that. Now, I commented back and I have an explanation for it. And I'm not trying to, retract what I said, but there are some things. Yeah, it's just like anything else. You cook food, you have instructions. You don't just go cook the food. That type of thing. You need instructions. Whether you choose to follow them or not, you might end up with the good food, or you might end up burning it if you don't follow the instructions. 6 one way, half a dozen the other. Some people don't, and then they wonder. Now, leading into that, let me read you something. Like I told her, the instructions and the curriculum itself, all curriculum. And I did a lot of research. There's books that tell you about the instructions, and she talked about scripted versus non-scripted, that type of thing. And I pointed out there's reasons why different curriculum are scripted. Some people will not follow a scripted curriculum. Okay, let me read this little tidbit. It says, this little program, okay, I'm going to tell you about it. I'll tell you what it is in a few minutes. But it says, if you follow the program, you will teach your child blank quite well. Blank, blank, okay? If, okay, it's telling you this on the first page. This is an instruction manual. If you don't buy the instruction manual, you missed that. And that's what I was trying to tell her. Yes, you may not need it, or you may feel that you don't need it because it's elementary, but it's telling you, if you follow this way, the way it was written, then you will have success. The problem is, it's not being followed. You put your own, you don't read it. You just get the book and open it. I can teach this because I know it. That's fine. Just know that you modified it. Don't come back later and say it failed. Now let me go to the next part. Okay, this is instructions. Everybody has shown this curriculum. Nobody ever reads this page online, ever. Okay? I was saving this for a while, but it's appropriate. This program is appropriate for preschool children, bright 3.5-year-olds, average 4 and 5-year-olds. This program is also appropriate for children who have been in school but have not learned to blank. This program is not recommended for poor blank who have been taught blank but may make frequent mistakes. This is very important. Okay, this in the manual. Again, nobody ever reads this page. They show the whole book, but they never read this page. Okay, this program, or the only material that you'll need to teach, are in this book. Paper or chalkboard. No flashcards, no lesson plans, no special books, or no machines. The instructions for each lesson are complete, and they're telling you exactly what to say and do. The lesson is designed to take X amount of time a day. That time includes the prep and the time you spend presenting the lesson. After you complete the program, you know more about teaching blank than most public schools teachers, because you have carefully observed and participated in the step-by-step development of your child's blank skills. Okay? And because the program works, something very nice happens. Perhaps not on the first lesson or the fifth, XYZ. But the child will be enriched in a prideful way. That's a whole handful, okay? Like I said, nobody has ever read that page online. They just skip over it. I got this thing in my hand because I was curious. It actually came with something else. I wasn't after it. But I dissected this. I've been dissecting it for a few years now before I wanted to present it, because I found something else that helped with understanding why these curriculum are written this way. But I got this thing in my hand, and I'm looking like everybody else. I go to the lesson, and I just said, there's something wrong with this. I can't, and I'm kind of familiar because this is a spinoff to another curriculum. And I just, kept going and put it to the child and gave it to another one. And I said, there's something wrong with this. And everybody was saying, Some people have used it with no problem, but everybody was saying something's wrong with it. They don't know what's wrong with it, but I still hear it. I go back to the very beginning because I read everything. I reread it again. What I see in this thing, people have pulled out flashcards. They have pulled out other materials. They have pulled out other materials, video materials, all kind of stuff. This thing said all you need is this book. Why on earth did you pull out all this stuff? Flip to the end of the book and it says, okay, so your child has taken a big step in X and they have learned XYZ. As you know, the child is not yet sufficiently skilled in XYZ. The next step in instruction should be the focus on XYZ that the child has not mastered. Here are some suggestions. All the suggestions that they suggest in the back of the book are what everybody presents in the front of the book. Hence, that's why the thing didn't work. So, I wasn't just being, obnoxious to be obnoxious, but the stuff is in the teacher manual. And people don't they don't read it. Some people just wouldn't read it if it just slapped them in the face. But when you're trying to present something to somebody, be complete and be thorough. Even if you don't follow it, you have to, because people will buy this thing and they think that, and they don't read it because you didn't read it. They think it's unnecessary. Get the manual. Get the manual. A lot of times manuals are not just test keys or answer keys or XYZ. They have black line masters. So they're telling you, all your supplements. They have a scope and sequence. On every curriculum website, most likely, everyone I've come across have a scope and sequence. A lot of people didn't even know what that was until a few years ago when I brought that up. Do you have a scope and sequence? Do you know? Even if you have to match it against your local public school, this is what your child should be. That's just, even if you don't want the, hold on, I'm going to show you. Even if you don't want to follow it, it's a roadmap. Okay, it gives you extra tips. And that's where the struggle comes because the child is not doing this, it's not doing that. Maybe the child is not ready. This thing says it's for children that have not had any exposure. But I see people using one thing and going to this, adding in something else. You just messed it up. You modified it. That's why it failed. If you have it, go read the first, second page. Go to the back of the book. There's a lot to be said about this book. Okay? A lot. But nobody has ever read that. No chalkboards, no Bob books, guys. No flashcards. But when you see this, they got the Bob books, they got the flashcards, they got the this and the that. Teach your child to read 100 easy lessons. On the shelf, the kid is crying, the parent is crying, everybody's struggling. I don't know what to do. The child is 6 and you still having a problem with the child reading. Oh, my child is slow. You're comparing your child to somebody else's because you failed to read the instructions. Ha, I knew it. Okay, I'm not being, I'm coming in love, y'all. I'm coming in love. Don't come for me. But for real, instruction manual is very important. They design these things to work with the manual. Whether you think you know it all or not, get it. If you choose not to use it, that's fine. Okay? And people that are watching, be mindful when they say they didn't read it. Okay? They didn't read it or they don't use it. Be mindful of that. Pay attention. Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to come back and tell you, we had this problem or we had that problem. Okay? It's not to say that, they did something wrong, but it is very important. And for this to be on the first page, yeah. Okay? Do you recommend it? No. Honestly, like I said, I have this. I have reading lesson. The reading lesson is 20 lessons. I have Alpha Phonics. 1, 2, 3. And I have Hooked on Phonics. You guys know my stance about Hooked on Phonics, the original version, not the new one. I have used Hooked on Phonics with my kids and many other kids. No problem. Straight out the box. Somebody talked about, can you use something I don't see, perfect curriculum? I have a couple things that I'm using straight out the package. I haven't had to modify anything. Because I read. And sometimes I have to go reference and dig up other things to help me use that. Because it might not tell you that in the overview when you look on the website or whatever. This, very hard. It is designed after the DISTAR. It was put together by, it's a DISTAR reading program. SRA, if you know Hooked on Phonics, the original version, also SRA, which is why I could not understand my hang up on this. Okay. Now, I got the book when I had the 3-year-old, I think. My 5-year-old now. She's 5 now. The problem was she already knew how to read, so I had to scrap it. Because a child cannot know the alphabet, they cannot know phonics, they cannot know anything to use this program. You have to, it was designed really for low income, what they call poor school systems, struggling school systems. And notice it said don't use it on a struggling reader that is making mistakes. But that's how they researched this thing and created it. She had already been exposed. And so I said, okay, let me see if I can do this with the other one. And so I was trying to do this with the other one. The problem is she already knew her phonics. She already knew her alphabet, even because I started when they were babies. I would recite the alphabet at diaper changes. And then I moved on to phonics at 18 months. So I haven't been able to successfully use this with anybody because they know too much. And what I hear a lot of people saying is the book kind of delays. It kind of retards the child because it's giving them too many steps. Now, I can see how it would work for a child that has never been exposed. I can take this to my neighbor or bring my neighbor's child because she hasn't had any kind of anything. Okay, just a minute. Give me about 5 minutes and see if it'll work with her. But that is a very important component. That's how it was designed. The child should not know A from B in order for this thing to work. Now, some have used it successfully. They've had to modify it. I'm not saying that it won't completely work, but the major fail is it was designed to be used a certain way. You have to follow what it says for it to work effectively. I can put it in front of my child right now, my 4-year-old. She's going to get bored with it because she knows SAT. She's not going to want to do this. So no, I don't recommend this at all. Again, I'm not saying that it's not a good program, but you have to know why you're using it. If you got a baby, get the book. Get the book and follow what it says. Follow the instructions. Let's see. Oh, let me see what to say. I knew it. Learning as we grow. I seen that book. Oh wow, I never heard anyone read that before. Love for all. Yeah. Learning. No shade. I never read that part because we never got to the end. Exactly. So now, those of you that have friends, share it. Share it. There's no harm in trying to. You're not correcting anybody. You're just pointing that out. Ask them. Did you do X, Y, Z? There have been many videos that I wanted to, people I wanted to approach, and I just left it, you guys, because I don't like to start confusion and chaos. But I knew what I knew, and it's like, man, you kind of help where you can. Some people take it as information they don't need. They get offended by it. So, but on my channel, I can say what I want. But I still have a whole, on those 4 curriculum, I have a whole big deal. Alpha Phonics, I would more point you towards Alpha Phonics. Alpha Phonics is modeled off of Hooked on Phonics. Okay. I didn't particularly like Alpha Phonics because it does things a little bit differently when I compared that with Hooked on Phonics. But if Alpha Phonics, that was also something that was just in a little, They might have been all together. I don't know. I was after something else, and they sent me all of that. So, yeah, I use alphaphonics still today, uh, loosely, because it is modeled off of it. But you have to be careful with it. Also, instructions with it. Okay. Let me show you something else. I'm giving away all my future content, but stuff that was on the hard drive that I'm gonna have to start over. But it's coming, guys. It's coming. I have shared with these with you guys the whole, the primer. Is this the primer? This is the primer, or the whole set. And I've heard a lot of people say they're boring, or my kids don't like them, or people don't use them. They just use them for reading. They don't know how to use them. You guys are going to be shocked when you find out what I do with these books, okay? All the way up. I have a high schooler, okay? These things are not, they're designed all the way up for high school. But guess what? I'm going to open this book and show you something. It has a preface. It has the little alphabet chart. It moves into the first lesson. But guess what? It has an instruction manual. The thing is about 300 pages. Did you know it had an instruction manual? Even though it was written at the turn of the century, a lot of people don't know that. And I'm saying to myself, did you read the instruction manual before you said it was boring? Because it tells you how to use it. Even back then, they were given instruction manuals. Wow, imagine that. That instruction manual is very nice. You got to dig for stuff. You can't take what people tell you. I've never seen anybody show the instruction manual or even mention it. But there's an instruction manual to the whole program. So I have a lot of faith in those books, in that curriculum. What do you think about All About Reading? All About Reading, again, is designed to, some children need tactile, if you follow the thing the way it says, it is a multi-sensory. So it's a good thing. It can be pricey. Some people feel that they don't need it. I personally have other methods that I use that I didn't need that. It's a lot of fluff. Okay. Hooked on Phonics is a book with black and white words and a lady on a cassette. That's it. That's all I needed. And I showed you guys the other day with the sight word deal. We don't use the pictures because they're not used to the pictures. In Hooked on Phonics, it's just the words. So that's all they were exposed to. Now, the pictures are nice to have, but I don't recommend teaching a child a picture because you can't really tell if they're actually reading or they're actually looking at the picture. Okay? So when I'm looking at these little primer books and stuff like that, it's like the brand new readers that I use, the picture is not totally what they're reading. So I think that's more or less why they like those over the Bob books. The Bob books really didn't make sense also. It's like twaddle. My kids wouldn't go for that. So yeah, that's some stuff I'm going to have to take next door and say, here, you can have it. I don't, we don't use it. But like I said, I had to find, go beyond what's here in these curriculum and stuff like that. And there are books that are, very helpful that kind of give insight on how curriculum, whether it's a textbook, public school or it's homeschool or, whatever, how this stuff is written, studies and things like that and where it works. And yes, they are studies and things like that. And, they're geared for a certain demographic, but they're very insightful. Very, very insightful. So that's why I say you really, you want to spend some time when you're getting a curriculum. You really do want to get the guides. If they are just truly, answer keys. Okay, fine. I see a lot of, I have to set myself apart when I'm looking at stuff like math, a lot of times people only show the math book, and I'm looking at, like, it only has the problem, and it'll say complete XYZ, and I'm like, where's the instruction on this? You know, it makes it very hard to visually use that review as something very credible, because how is a child learning how to do this? Are they just supposed to know how to do it? I need to know how it gets there. Now, if you paid attention to the new math book that I showed you with the older kids, the twins, I love that thing so much, because it show every lesson that they do, it builds. It just breaks it down in a way that it builds them up to the skill that they're going to learn. Okay, and it just does it so smoothly. I'm like, well, dang, you know, they're doing this one day, and then 2 days later they get to the concept, and I'm like, wow, they were teaching you how to do this all along, straight out the package. Now, yes, I do have the teacher manual. What I told you guys on that, you did not see me buy the teacher manual. The teacher manual is actually $90. Okay, the book is only $20. It's $19.40. Okay, you download the teacher manual that has all the black line masters and all of that, and it's only $20. But to actually physically get it is $90. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that is a lot of money, but, and why do I need it? You know, most of the curriculum will tell you this, you need the teacher manual. If it tells you you need the teacher manual, you need it. Don't take shortcuts because you don't have the money. Find another curriculum. If it's that bad, find another curriculum. Borrow. Many people have resource centers, homeschool libraries, and things like that. Ask. If it's something you're looking at, I might have it. Ask me. You can come in private. Ask me. There's a lot of stuff I don't even share. It's on the shelf or something because somebody's given it to me, or I bought something else and it came with it and I'm just not using it, but I might have it. So ask. Let me see. What was I saying? The math book, you want to, I like to see, not just this is what the child is doing. Another thing I see, a lot of people will open their book when they're doing the flip through. They flip from the back to the front. I want to see from the front to the back because I want to see the progression. Pause on it. I want to see the progression. How many pages? And they don't flip one page. I know it's long to go one page, but sometimes it really helps to see that, because you want to see how long that book or that curriculum is spending on that one concept. I've seen, I want to say, Horizons, 4 different concepts on one page, and the next page is something completely different. Some kids cannot handle 4. You might have to split, that up, and that's 4 different days. But if you look at the way it was designed, they want you to do it all in one day. So how much are they really, is it really worth it? I don't know if the instructions tell you how to do it, because nobody's showing the instruction and the book at the same time. They just say, oh, this is the instruction manual, or I didn't buy it. Okay. So it's, something left out. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to point out who does what, that doesn't matter. But that's the reason why I say a lot of times I have to go on my own understanding. I'm looking at the website, and then I have to go beyond the website. Now, again, in the back of this, it tells you all the stuff, the Bob books and all of that jazz, some books, Eric Carle, Margaret Hilbert, Dr. Seuss, that's when you add that stuff in. My only concern was showing, the copyright. You have to be careful. A lot of people don't pay attention. So again, you need to be able to discern and tell people, okay, I can't legally show you this. Like when I showed you the math book, there are a lot of samples. Somebody came and asked me, look, if you go to their website, ACSI, you can get nice samples of the teacher, because it'll say teacher. It says T something, TC, or TB. I think it means black line. But you can get the sample of it. Now, I showed it. I did not title it what it was. I didn't name the book. That way, if somebody flags me, that's your fault. I'm trying to help you out. But I didn't title it that. And when I show it again and give the review, I probably won't title it because I want you guys to look in the book. Okay? And that's the way I got around that. I didn't really share too much per se. I've been showing you guys snips of whatever. I didn't show the book at all, the name of the book. That's why people always ask me when I show the stuff, I never show the book. Okay, so there's ways around it. If you mention it and just leave it at that, you'll be okay. So, yeah, if you have a way to get your, go to convention or something like that and actually get your hands on it, when you look in those books, go from front to back. Read the scope and sequence. I had a long issue with choosing that math. I knew about the math. I was very careful, but I'm looking at our state scope and sequence, and it says the kids should be place value to 1,000 or 1,000's place. One of the things I had was only to the hundreds. So I said, okay, I can't use this. And so every scope and sequence I was using, every curriculum I looked up, that's the first thing I looked at, was what is this book actually covering, all the concepts. I've looked at, what is this? Some of the books, their book brought in what we needed to cover was multiplication and division. I think I showed like right up until that part. They already mastered that. They got it now, like right after I showed the book. And it was quick, they got it. The way they taught it to them was very thorough. And something else I saw, it's like chapter 5. Some other books I see, they don't introduce the multiplication until like chapter 14. That's like the end of the book. So you want to pay attention to those things. What is in those books? Because some of the books, it's a review, in the beginning of the book from the previous grade. So it's like, do you really need all of this? Is it just, filling up the book? When should the child, you follow your state scope and sequence? When does the child need to learn this concept? Okay, not to say that you really have to stick to that, but there's some rhyme and reason to that. Because these companies think about that. So, and they, same thing with the textbooks. They think about that. Will the child be ready for it? Maybe, maybe not. But I felt it was important because we have been doing adding and subtracting all along. And the only thing left was going to be the double digit, addition and subtraction and the regrouping, which I had already introduced them to. So it's like, I don't want multiplication and division to fall at the end of the grade because they're going to get bored for the rest of the year. Let's see. Love for All said, I noticed that with Bob books. What other readers do you use? Like I said, McGuffey's. The brand new readers. Do I have one? No. Well, actually, I do. Oh, no. Hold on. These little brand new readers, I use these as opposed to Bob books. And yeah, they're very old. They're like 20-something years old. I found these at Barnes & Noble. Candlewick Press. They come in a pack of like 5, I think, for like $5 or something. But my kids like these. This is what they read. After they read Hooked on Phonics, I went to the store and I got this. And that's what they started reading. After this, they went to chapter books. They was reading Junie B. Jones and stuff like that at 4 years old. I didn't have to, it wasn't like pulling teeth. Can we have something? Yes, ma'am. Just a second. I am really coming this time. So, and I understand the ones that, where there is a struggle. I understand that there are kids that cannot, and that's because it's a systemic approach to teaching the reading. Some people are teaching by sight words. That is a very long process. It is, I don't want to say wrong because somebody's going to jump on me, and it's wrong because you're only teaching them sight. Okay. What did my child read the other day? I don't know, something in the Bible lesson. You guys will see it. But it was a long word. Anyway, he read straight from the Bible. Most 5-year-olds, you can't give a Bible and say, read it, a big Bible. They cannot make those words out. These kids have no problem because they were taught phonetically to read and decode. So it is a big difference in how you teach. Sight words were meant to be taught for children that already know how to read, not to help them learn how to read. Bob books were designed for children that know how to read, not when you are beginning to teach them to read. Have private books, and libraries have a lot of mainstream. Yeah, they do. I'm glad you brought that up. Check it out at the library. Check it out. You can find just about anything you need at the library. Even if they have to borrow it, from another library. Use your resources. If you have other friends, like I say, if you have something, a lot of times somebody may have something, or something I've seen. If I don't have it, I will say, hey, go watch so-and-so's channel, because they have it, and this is what you'll see. I'll point them to the video or whatever. Copyright issue, we can make private videos. Somebody sent me a private video on something on the reading curriculum, on history curriculum. We can do that. We can send private links. So there's always ways to help. You just have to ask. I do not like starting with sight words. I have never understood beginning there. Okay, learning as we grow says that. But yeah, this is very popular, and it just gives me pause, because I follow people. I don't just watch that one video. I follow you for years, and then I see later on the stumbling. It's like, okay, well, people say it's hard to teach a child how to read. My stance on that is I've never taught my children how to read. And some people are like, what? No, I didn't. I never said that. I always tell you guys that. I don't believe you can teach your child how to read. That is a myth. Teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons. No, you teach your child the phonics. You teach your child the alphabet. You teach them to put those sounds together. They are going to learn how to read. Okay? It's only certain things that you can teach a child. How do I contact you? You can private message me here in the little about thing on my home page. And some people don't know, if you go off to the right side, it'll say, I don't know, it'll say something, but there's a little, looks like a little piece of paper emoji. It's real tiny. It's lines and gray. That's the section where you send a private message. Because it used to say message, but now it doesn't say that. You can also contact me on the Facebook group, because it's open. You can either post it or you can send it privately. You can find me on Instagram. And, standard email is, everybody has Gmail for YouTube. So, either way, I'll get it. I'm trying to see who's out here. But yeah, you gotta, you have to know how to use these things. It's not, so cut. And keep in mind that not everybody follows the instructions. You have to keep an open mind. And some people do not keep an open mind about that. They just look at these videos and, oh, let me find the one that pertains to teaching my child how to read. No, I'm showing you multiple videos. I'm showing you a progression over some years. So don't just watch the first one and say, oh, I got it. Because that's not going to help you. It may give you some tips, but it's not going to help you. There are a lot of things that we do, for that. Ones that say it's, like I say, it's hard. It's only as hard as you make it. If you don't do your research beforehand, kind of think back to how you learned how to read. Put some of that into it. A lot of people can't remember, but it really takes some time to, get that. And I think when you start homeschooling, That's the only thing you should focus on is reading. Don't, I know we have state homeschool laws and things like that. Yes, you keep that in mind. You might want to have your little, material or whatever off to the side. But the main thing is to teach that child how to read, because they have to be able to read in these workbooks, in these textbooks, in order to get this work done, or you're just sitting there reading every little thing to them. That's not very effective, I know for a fact when the kids are in school, the teacher is not doing that. They teach them to read this stuff so they can go on about their business because they have all these kids, We have the pleasure of sitting at home with the kids and spending that time. So when I talk about on the weekends, sometimes I help the kids. I sit with one. I might get one of my binders out. We sit down and work through the binder, and just sharpen up some skills and stuff like that. So you want to you want to really take the time to understand what you're using, whether it's new, whether it's old. Take away all of the ideas that you got from somebody else. Go from scratch, go from the website, read what it's telling you, know what you expect out of the curriculum. Okay? That's the first thing you should do.
How many minutes do you need?
2 minutes. I'm getting ready to say goodbye. Okay. All right. And that will help you far more than any sort of review or anything, if you know what to expect out of the thing, because then you won't set your expectations higher. You will understand, okay, maybe I do need to read these instructions a little bit more. Read them again. It took me, I don't know how many times to read this book and pull this book out. Sometimes I just sit here, I was studying it and not really doing anything with it. I'm trying to break it down. I'm trying to process it. I even gave it to my older kids. I gave all of these things. I haven't presented it, but all of these curriculum, and I asked them, if I were to give you these to help you read in the beginning, which one would you choose? Okay, so I'll get that. That'll all be in the videos when I come out with these. And tell which one, in my opinion, you can. I think the main thing is I'm not discrediting any of them. I think they're designed for different people. You just have to know which one is the right one for you, is what I'm saying. Okay? I'm not saying it's bad, but some people cannot use things that are manuals. Manuals in general intimidate people. And some people just don't. It's intimidating. But they don't say that. So you got to kind of read between the lines. That type of thing. So, but I have to, I have to read it. I don't care if it's a pencil sharpener. I'm reading the manual. I can build stuff visually. I don't have to read it. But I'm going to read it because I want to know maybe if I screw it the wrong way or 5 times instead of 6, is the thing going to fall apart. I'm just that type of person. So, anyway, I thank you guys, and contact me. Like I say, email, private message, leave some comments. They are still being approved, but I will, I put them through. I just want to see them before because I don't like the chaos. I will be back. I don't know. Most likely not today, but yeah, I'll be back maybe a couple days. I need to get footage up. I have a lot of footage I need to get up, so I will do that and answer some questions that way. I need you guys to interact with me, especially about what I'm going to put up next. Interact. I think it's a good thing. Peace out.